I'm curious what you make of Gap here.
Yeah, so Gap fired.
I mean, I know you have it. You're just literally it's breaking all your set. But.
Yes, but I do have some thoughts. So Gap fired its CEO in November, and like Romain just said, they are looking to hire a full-time CEO. And with that firing in November, they were very clear that they wanted to continue the separation of the company because it would just take Old Navy away and kind of shine a bright light, and it could continue. But since then, we've had an earnings season. We showed that Old Navy has kind of slowed down in growth.
Right.
So it looks like the company stepped back, and with all of the changes that are happening, they're saying, hey, we're going to focus on the management side and not do this larger separation.
So I'm curious about this, Jordyn, because when they announced this, I mean, I think the initial reaction there was a positive share reaction, but then investors kind of soured on it for a couple of reasons. First of all, Old Navy seemed to be kind of holding up the Gap company in terms of sales growth and all, and so there was some concern about what the leftover company would be. And then, of course, with the CEO change, now, is this, I guess I don't understand, where does this leave them? Is this basically put them back to where they were in February when they first made this announcement, or is this sort of a new and refreshed company and I just missed it?
We're pretty much where we were before February with the announcement. So there's still all the portfolio. So you have Banana Republic, Gap, Athleta, which is now the Bright Light, and Old Navy. Okay. And going back to the idea that Old Navy had a lot of value, but since that announcement in February, it's had some sale misses. They said that they missed on some fashion, and now it looks like they're stepping back and just reevaluating that decision that was made under Art Peck, who's no longer at the company.
Someone else who's going to no longer be at the company is Neil Fisk, the president and CEO of the Gap brand. And that's kind of part of the problem with Gap. As Romain mentioned, Old Navy held up everything for the company itself, but the main brand, Gap, kind of got lost in the shuffle. It was neither here nor there, right? Banana Republic was high-end. Old Navy was more for the more budget-conscious, and then you have Athleta, which was more towards the athleisure part of it. But Gap just got lost in the mix and started losing out to the likes of Uniqlo, and of course Zara and Century 21, Forever 21 that is, came in H&M as well with their fast fashion.
Right, yeah, Gap was always kind of known as the American brand. You get your jeans, you get your t-shirts, but like you said, it got lost in the mix and has kind of lost its identity. So part of it was, how do we make it a go-to brand again? But in the mix of all of this, they said they're closing stores, so 230 stores, as they plan to expand Old Navy to about 2,000. So that even shows where their priorities are.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about the broader consumer, the broader macro picture. We got a slew of data out this morning, 8:30. It's all looking pretty good.
Yes, so we saw really strong retail sales, and strong as in the consumer is willing to spend, and some other good data. But you have to look at the individual holiday reports that we got from individual companies like Target, which was weak, JCPenney's, all the department stores. So what was interesting in the data this morning was that general merchandise went up, but department stores went down, continuing a trend we've been seeing.
And I just want to go back to Gap for 1 second, because there's a couple key sentences here in this statement where they talk about they're committed to a sharpened strategic focus, tailored operating strategies, and operational discipline and accountability. So you could kind of read in between the lines as to what that could mean. But obviously a company that is going to try to find a new path forward.
Better inventory management is where I guess they would start, given that we are across the street from a Gap and Banana Republic, and everything's 40% off at all times. And I know that that's part of the strategy now, where people want to feel like they get a deal, but a lot of the times they just have a lot of extra stuff lying around.
Yeah, and we should follow this story, because you go back to 2002 when they lost Mickey Drexler, who was obviously just pivotal in making Gap what it was, and the company never really sort of had the same cachet.
It didn't find its mojo back.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting.